All right, welcome back. Rich Drew, your Little Sugar MTB coach and guide. We're back for episode 3 of our Genius Guide series, and this one holds a special place in my heart because today we are going to talk about skills. Now, I'm joined by a very special guest, and you better recognize the stars and stripes. This is Rachel Melilli, MTB Endurance National Champion.
Marathon. Yep.
Marathon National Champion, and we talked about this earlier. How critical a role did skills play in earning that jersey?
It was 100% necessary to work on skills.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to get across to people how important having a solid foundation of skill is going to be in this race. I've thought about how best to convey this, and we've conversed about this a little bit. Riding a bike on the trails in Bella Vista is hard. Making it even more challenging by not having a solid foundation of skill or not applying it on race day is gonna be a tough one.
Definitely.
So what we're gonna do to help everybody out there is we're gonna leverage the Ride Series ground school that we have set up here. And we're gonna run through what I feel are the most important components to everybody out there having the ride of a lifetime come race day. Now, I know I'm ready because this is something I love. Are you ready to
I'm
work
ready.
through this? You are, you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, hopefully everybody out there is ready because it's time to do this. All right, crew, first thing we're gonna talk about, and it's the most important. It is literally the thing that's gonna allow you to have the best race possible. It's proper body position. So first thing we need to look at is this bike, my RE Signal Peak, your Specialized Epic, every bike out there they're using. The bike is engineered to have the rider over the center of the bike. Center of the bike is right here. We use the bottom bracket. The challenge with that is, as a human being, when you're faced with fear, what do? You push back. So we know you're gonna push back. Here's the way to go about this. Stay centered as long as you can. So when it's time to push back, you can do it and you can leverage that movement. What we're gonna do is use this right here. We're gonna try to showcase the best body position. Now, the oldest adage in mountain bike coaching is heavy feet, light hands. So if you're on your bike and you feel like you're lacking stability, try to transfer more weight in your feet. It's a common issue for people to get heavy on the hands. They lean over, they rest their weight on the hands. When you do that, the front is gonna get a little twitchy. So what we're gonna try to do is leverage that centered body position, heavy feet, light hands, and we're just gonna roll over this. The beauty of a centered body position is theoretically you let the bike move underneath you. So we're gonna do that right here, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Perfect. Then you're gonna show everybody out there what it looks like. All right? So I come in, I'm tall, relaxed, my elbows are out, bike moves into me, bike rolls away. We'll contrast that with what we see a lot. Elbows down, hips back. Now watch what happens to my body. So what we're trying to accomplish here is keep our mass under control, okay? In this equation, it's me and the bike. Okay, I weigh about 180, bike weighs about 29, 30. If the bike is moving my mass, that's bad. So if I'm in this centered position, relaxed, weight in my feet, I can let the bike move underneath me. Does this make sense?
It does.
It does?
Yes.
Are you ready to try this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Elbows out, relaxed. Excellent. So one more time, do it. Come in a relatively tall, relaxed position.
Okay.
And try to keep your head in a straight line. I want your head to track straight through. Let the bike come up into you and go away. Good, well done. The idea here is we're trying to be as efficient as we can. It's a long race. Not a lot of us are getting paid to race our bikes. So we need to maximize whatever fitness it is we have. So when we talk about our baseline position, we talked ready position earlier. Ready position is situationally dependent. But what I'm trying to do as a rider is mimic this right here. When I'm standing up on my bike, my pedals are level, I want to mimic this as much as I can, because if whenever I stand up, I get down like this, that's very taxing. So the idea is be as relaxed as you can for as long as you can. That's gonna come with more comfort. And if you've never ridden here, one way to be more comfort is temper your speed. Everybody out there wants to go fast. You wanna be Ricky Bobby. Well, if you go fast on a section that you're not familiar with, anxiety creeps up and the hips creep back. We don't want that. I can't stress it enough. Body position, body position, body position. And to further reinforce it, welcome. We'll call this the octagon. You ready?
I am ready for the octagon, Rich.
So right here, we've taken that one element and we've now made 3. So infinitely more challenging. And the idea is you want to be in that centered position to work through this. We brought up the word pumping. Okay, we're trying to be efficient, we're trying to be effective. What we're going to try to do is come through this and essentially use as little pumping as we have to and leverage our body being centered. So I come in nice and centered and see the arms moving. So what I'm trying to do is keep my body here and let the bike move underneath me. If my hips go back, that makes this way more challenging. That's pretty dang good right there.
Woo!
How'd it feel?
A little clunky.
Okay, go ahead, do it again.
Okay.
Don't think forward, back. Think a little bit more up, down with the arms. What you did instinctually is what most people will do instinctually.
Yeah.
When you came in right here, your hips went back.
Okay.
A tiny bit.
Tiny bit.
Might have been 2 inches, but
Yeah.
what you're realizing is that's part of what's making it clunky. When the
Yeah.
hips go back, that causes your arms to get stretched out. That moves
Yeah.
your torso.
And I'm not like in line with the center of the bike.
You're not in line with the center of the bike. So here we go. I'm gonna make a statement right now. This is gonna catch a lot of people. They're gonna question this. Get further forward on your bike. Get further forward. I'll tell everybody you can get further forward on your bike because you know what a natural human instinct is? Back. And furthermore, your brain probably won't let you get too far forward. So this time through, I want you to come in tall, relaxed. Think about getting your torso a little bit further forward on the bike
Okay.
and do everything within your power to not let your hips creep back.
Okay.
Go for it. How did that feel?
That felt better.
That felt better, and I think it felt better because you brought the hips forward. You're in a better position, you have more movement.
Yes.
This is going to be of the utmost importance. Little Sugar MTB race course. You know, you did it last year. How many spots are there where understanding and executing technique like this is going to be valuable?
A ton of spots.
This is something that you can practice leading up to the race and when you do your pre-rides. Centered over the bike, heavy feet, light hands, relaxed. Element 2, pretty important because one of the things you're always going to do when you're riding or racing is you're going to go to the brakes. So we got 2 brakes. We have the front and the rear. Okay, not a trick question. Which one, generally speaking, is more effective?
The front.
The front, yes. Answer it with confidence because it's
brake.
the front. Yes, the front brake. So you want to be able to use the front brake. Now, both brakes can be very effective, and effective is what we're after. And what I mean by that is, think of it this way. When you're coming down the trail, you get into a braking zone, you need something for that scenario. So for me, I'm 180 pounds, ripping down the trail, I need to make a turn. I only need to apply so much brake to get me at a speed that I can then navigate that turn. And I want to do that in the most effective manner possible. So this is going to be a little bit of a twofer. The way I can best apply brakes is by seeing where my braking zone is. So as I'm riding, I want to look ahead. I want to see now, next, now, next. That's the first thing. Second is these right here. Rachel, you know how many people we see that have every finger on their grips? Problem with that is you come in, you got to get the finger off and go to the brake. We call that light switch brake application. We want to apply brakes like a dimmer switch. So when you have that index finger right here and you're looking ahead and you're seeing where your braking zone is, it's much easier to be effective when you're applying the brake. Now it's a matter of how do we apply the brake. So dimmer switch is what you want to think of. You move it as quickly as you need to, as much as you need to. So let's just take a quick step back. We want to be effective. We want to manage our mass. So when I come in and apply the brakes as a rider, I'm trying to leverage the front. Well, what we saw last year a lot come race day for Little Sugar is people come into a braking zone with elevated speed and they get nervous and the hips go back. Well, if my weight transfers back, how effective now is the front brake? It's not.
No.
It's not. The front brake's only as effective as the weight you have on it. So essentially, as I go to the brakes, I obviously want to keep from flipping over, but all I have to do is modulate that. So for me as a rider, what I'm thinking is take what we just worked on, my weights and my feet. I come into a braking zone, I'm thinking about driving my heels down. My hips follow my heels. I'm applying brake. If I'm not comfortable, I can then move back. That's my cadence. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. As I come in, I'm gonna apply brake and counter with my body. I'm not making any super subtle inputs with either the fingers or the body. And the reason is physics tells me for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. I wanna use my weight as I'm coming through the braking zone. You ready to give it a try? Good, nice and tall. Good, brake application was good. Now, this time through, I want you to drop those hips down. Good, come in nice and tall. Build brake pressure. Good, even more.
Even more? Okay.
Even more with the hips. Come in, as you're coming through the braking zone, the hips are dropping.
Dropping, okay.
So the whole time through the braking zone, you're building brake pressure, you're dropping the hips more. Inverse relationship. Nice and relaxed, down, down, down. There we go. I love it.
Hey, I had to think down and not back.
Okay, go ahead and do it again, a little bit more speed. Excellent. Nice work.
Thank you.
How'd it feel?
Felt a lot better.
Okay, what we're trying to do is think down, down, down. You can always go back if needed. Now I'm gonna have you do it one more time.
Okay.
And here's what I want you to do. I want you to come in faster.
Okay.
So here's why. I want you to come in faster, but what we're gonna try to do is keep the quickness of the body the same.
Okay.
So the goal of this drill is for you to keep coming in faster and figure out how slowly and how short of a distance can I move my body. That's a tough thing, but what most people get from this is they realize, whoa, I can almost move my body in slow motion, and it's effective, it works. There we go. Nice work. Good, that looked good. Heels looked good. You're always leveraging the heels because that's where your weight is. Hips, you came in, they started to move pretty quickly and you slowed it down and dropped them. I love it. Effective. Effective is what you're after when it comes to braking. You're gonna look ahead. The further you can see down the trail, the slower the braking zones will come at you. Think more down than back, because you'll always go back, and build brake pressure. Think of it as a graph. Build it as smoothly as you can. You will have success, especially on the loose surface we have out here.
Definitely.
All right, now it's time to move on to something that might just be a little bit more important than braking. Turning, critically important. Okay, every time you ride a bike, you gotta turn at least once. We're gonna talk about how best to do it, and we're gonna try to keep it as simple as we can. We're gonna start with a science experiment. All right, go ahead and stand up. So Rachel stood up, relaxed position, cruising down the race course come race day, and she's gotta make a left-hand turn. Now, pedals level, equally weighted side to side. Now, when she leans the bike over, because we know you gotta lean the bike over to effectively turn, half the weight's on the inside. Now to compound that, this little sugar race course, it is loose in spots. So when, not if, you slide out and lose traction, what are you gonna do? Well, watch this outside foot. When the inside foot comes off, which is more challenging because it's weighted, the outside foot drops. That's called gravity. What we're gonna try to do is use that to our advantage. We're gonna do that with a simple 2-word mantra. Actually, inside hand, outside, be 4 words. We're gonna do this with a simple 4-word mantra. Inside hand, outside foot. So as the bike leans over, guiding with the inside hand, not the outside, because if you guide with the outside hand, you have to counter with the inside. You weight the outside foot. The more you guide with the inside, the more you weight the outside foot. Does this make sense to you?
It does.
We're gonna show everybody out there so it makes even more sense to them. All right, so as I roll in, I know it's a right-hand turn. I'm dropping the outside foot, pushing through the heel, rotate back, hips out, rotate again, hips out, guiding with the inside hand. I will yield to you. A little over-exaggerated there with the hips. I'm a big fan of Shakira. Hips don't lie, especially in this setting. So when you're coming in, you're seeing the turn, entry speed is hopefully appropriate. Drop the outside foot, so that's done with, you don't have to think about it. What makes this challenging for people is, oh, I don't know which foot to drop. I get it, do it early. Once the foot's dropped, you transfer the weight out, guide with the inside hand. What you're thinking about here are big arcs. You're trying to link each turn together. what we're gonna do is try to get you comfortable with hip movement side to side. So I'm gonna hold the bike up, okay? You're nice and relaxed. So what we're gonna do, go ahead and get the pedals level. Get them nice and level now. So you're coming in, you're dropping that foot. Okay, so now as we come in, see the hips countering?
Yeah.
The hips are going way out. This is beautiful. Look at that. Elbow is up and out. You have a ton of leverage. You're guiding with the inside hand. That's what we want to see. So a marker can be the seat. You want your hips on the other side of the seat. We didn't see that last time through. All right, drop that outside foot. Get the hips out. Hips, there we go. Hips out, hips out, hips out. Hips out, hips out. Hey, congratulations. You're a Zoolander. You can turn right, you can't turn left. Yet. So this time through, once you get through the right, really think about getting your hips out.
Okay.
And so what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna stand right here, I'm gonna say hips away, hips away. Your hips are away from me, they're towards the turn.
Okay.
Some people joke and say, show the turn your good side. Hips out, good, hips out. Hips away, hips away. How's it feel?
Better.
Okay, give me a little bit more explanation.
I had to really think about getting my hips to the right and thinking about that space between myself and the saddle. And then also looking to the next turn and preparing to set up for that so I could be successful.
Yes, all the things that you need to think about. But here's the beauty in that. Right now, the checklist is this long. The more you do it, more you have time under task, the more those things fall off the checklist. So if you almost think about over-exaggerate this, try to do more than you need to, you can always dial it down to what you need to. So very important to understand, especially here. If you don't lean the bike, you're not turning effectively. And what gets challenging, and we see this with a lot of people again, is they come in with the hips back and they drop the elbows down. And what that does is it gets you back. This is the wheel of influence. If you don't have enough weight on the front, you're not going to get enough traction. It's that simple. And most people by nature are going back. When you come in level pedals with the elbows down, what happens is a lot of steering takes place. Now, low speed, you can certainly steer, you can get away with it, but higher speeds, we want to avoid steering and we want to use more bike lean. I want you to come through one last time, and this time through, I want you to really think about pressing through the outside foot. If you press through that heel on the outside, you create even more traction.
Okay.
Go for it.
Give this a whirl.
All right, foot down, guide with that inside hand, rotate, push through the outside foot. You said it. You came in a little fast. This is an important thing. Entry speed is very important, and people tend to come in a little faster and apply brake in the turn. If we look at it, we have two buckets. We have the traction bucket and the braking bucket. If we start braking in a turn, we're pulling from that traction bucket. We don't want to do that. Think about it this way. In like a lamb, out like a lion. Slow in, fast out.
Okay.
You can always speed up, and furthermore, if you're going a little bit slower, you're gonna be down on the inside of the trail. That's telling you, hey, you can go a little bit faster next time. So come in a little bit slower, think more technique. Technique, technique, technique. Don't think about going fast through the turns, think about applying the best technique. Speed, it's a byproduct. Temper the speed. Foot down, hip out, good. Hips out, good. Hips out that way, hips out that way. Push through that outside foot, good.
I could feel the traction.
Feel the traction. That was fun?
Yes, very fun.
Nice work. Okay. What's fun is being confident through turns. What's fun is not falling in turns. Although there's a high likelihood that that's gonna happen because it's super loose everywhere. Technique, technique, technique. Okay, drop the outside foot. Make sure you see the turn. Guide with the inside hand. Try to come in at an appropriate speed and really press through the outside foot. That's gonna help you get more traction. We could talk turns all day, but now guess what? We're gonna move on to what has been a very controversial topic and one that is gonna be incredibly important when you come out for Little Sugar MTB. And we're gonna call this technical lifts. Say what you just said.
There's nothing quite like being in a race or a long ride. You're tired, you're climbing uphill, and you encounter an impediment. And you have to get over it, and sometimes you get hung up on it.
A lot of times.
A lot of times.
A lot of times we get hung up on those things. I think this is the most challenging thing that we work with here at the Ride Series. I'd rather teach you how to jump than do what we're about to do. And it's because it's challenging, there's a lot of nuance, and I'd also argue it's a bit counterintuitive. So to tackle the psychology behind that, we're gonna try to reframe this. Okay, your bike, how much does it weigh?
Around 20 pounds?
Okay, how much do you weigh?
More than 20 pounds.
More than 20 pounds. Doesn't it make sense to think about where your body needs to be and not the bike?
Yeah.
You have this impediment in front of you. Everybody thinks about, what do I do with the bike? Where do I put the bike? Think about where you put your body. Put your body where you want to go. The bike is going to come with you.
Right.
We're going to tackle this from a place of efficiency. Do you believe in efficiency in life?
Very important.
We want to be efficient when it comes to this. This is a long race, 50, 100, doesn't matter, it's long. I want to be as efficient as possible. I don't want to waste energy. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down what we call the lift, shift, and pull. Essentially, we're trying to get a wheel lift. We're trying to lift the front of the bike, however high we need for that obstacle. Then I want to shift my body where I'm going and then pull the bike back into me. Okay.
Makes sense.
Here's what I normally see, ready? You come in like this and it's check it. I do that to show you that's what we see quite a bit. Trying to muscle it up. And it's good, power is good. But what you want to try to do is stack power on top of technique. Now, as it pertains to efficiency, I'm about to do another one. I'm gonna let you and everybody out there decide which one is more efficient. Nice and relaxed, rock forward, rock back, shift my body.
Forward, back, shift body.
Which one was more efficient?
The second one.
The latter, of course, yeah, it's way more efficient. So how we do that now, we want to break down. So I'm in the saddle. And I'm in the saddle because I want to leverage my mass, and the saddle is what I rock it against. It's my fulcrum point. If I'm up in the air, I'm moving around. I have to hold myself up. So I come in with a tall, upright torso. When I get to the spot that I deem appropriate based on my experience, I rock forward, rock back. Physics tells me action, reaction. And if I stay going back with my torso, once the slack is taken out of my arms, that's what gives me my lift. The reason we're doing it over here is so you can see the right foot. There's a pedal lift, so I can use this. So essentially, as I come back, I'm pushing through and getting about a quarter, half turn on the pedal to help get that lift. The idea is I need to get here. I need to get the front wheel from there to there. Once I've done that, that part's over. All I simply need to do is level my pedals and stand up. If I stand up and put my mass where I want it to go, at the same time my rear wheel is approaching that impediment can't grab me. All right, so gear choice is critical. I'm in fifth. I'm not up in the giant 52 tooth. My seat's up. It doesn't have to be all the way, but it's up a decent amount. So as I come in, I stay here. So I'm cruising through. Rock forward, rock back, stand up. Slow entry. This isn't power. Rock forward. Okay, stop. I'm gonna let you self-assess.
Yeah.
What happened?
My timing was off and I hesitated.
Timing was off. You waited too long, hesitated. Perfect. So now what do?
Do it again.
Back it up in space.
Yeah.
So this is part of what makes this so challenging is you don't know the timing. Everybody asks me, where? The answer is yes. You got to figure it out. That's what you're doing right now.
Okay.
Good, begin. So seat where you're comfortable. You want it up a little bit. Rock back, stand up. Good. Well done. But you noticed the rear caught you.
I popped up, yeah.
The rear caught you because the window was too small because you came in faster.
Okay.
So this is, again, very challenging. What we're trying to do here in this environment, in the heart of Blowing Springs, birthday party getting ready to kick off. It's magic in the air.
Ready for cake.
That's later. We're earning the cake right now. What you're trying to do is work the technique. If you can work the technique at a slower speed, you give yourself more time where it can make sense. Once it makes sense, we can think about slowly bringing more speed. I can tell you, you're gonna see this. It's not gonna look like these black plastic boxes, but the size is gonna be similar. It's gonna be rock, and it's gonna vary. Flat, uphill, downhill. You gotta be prepared for all of those situations.
All right.
Come in a little slower, really leverage rocking that body to get the front up. Once the front's up, then you shift that body. The idea is shift your mass, lighten the rear. Slow, you're good. Rock forward, rock back, stand up.
Yay!
Yes, yay,
That
come
felt
here.
so much better.
Good job.
So much easier.
Makes sense, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it felt good.
So, I'm excited.
Me too.
Well, how applicable is this gonna be for everybody?
This is very applicable. There are certainly some spots on both the back 40 and the tunnel vision loop where you will encounter impediments or obstacles like this on the trail that you're gonna have to get over. And those aren't early in the race, so you'll be tired when you hit them.
Yes. Put your body where you wanna go. Technique is paramount. Oh, nice, you crushed this. I'm so excited.
Me too.
I think now it's time to move away from the most frustrating to something that I think will be almost just as valuable. And we're gonna call this technical descents, dare I even call them drops. Some have. We're gonna keep this one short and to the point. And what it comes down to is you have an amazing bike. It's a very capable bike. The further you go back on that bike, the less you allow the bike to do what it is capable of. Make sense?
Yeah.
The other thing we need to think about is the more you go back, the more you limit your ability to use your arms.
They're only so long.
All I simply want you to do when you come in here is think about sinking down into the bike. It's the squat versus hinge debate. We're gonna leverage the squat. We're gonna sink in, get to a position where our chest is upright and we can see where we're going, and we're gonna put the bike where we wanna go. You ready to see it?
Sounds good.
Are you ready to see it? I come in with my seat down, now watch. I sink in, 1, 2. So Rachel, I talked about coming in, squatting. So I come in, if I go back, I limit that ability to use my arms. And the problem is when the bike drops and my arms get straight, it yanks me. I've done demos of that in the past. I did too well. The outcome's not great. So when I come in, I wanna sink into the bike. Elbows up in line with the fork. So if my body's right here, I can set the bike down, my body doesn't move. There's no reason here. If you notice, I don't need to push the bike out or parachute up. I simply get here, set the bike down, set the bike down.
It's like you're waiting for the bike, like not trying to rush the process.
You're not trying to rush the process, but you are dictating the process. Don't let the bike do what it wants to do. You put the bike exactly where you want, and the further forward you are, the better position you're in to make that happen. Good, pretty good. A little more hinge than I would like.
More squat than hinge is what I need.
Try to squat more.
Okay.
So think of it as a continuum. You as an athlete, we're trying to figure out what makes the most sense. And here's where I come at this from, 6'2". So if anybody out there's watching, you're 6'2" or above, in this world, you're tall. And there's a chance you're gonna hinge more because that's what taller athletes do. And generally taller athletes are not great at squatting. We wanna try to leverage the squat as much as we can because we talked about vision, right? Okay, well, if I come in and I hinge, where am I looking?
Down.
Okay, I can fix that, right?
So you look up.
Are you an amateur chiropractor? That's a lot of cervical spine pressure. Watch, if I come in and squat, I'm looking where I want to go. And so then if I do that, I'm centered over the bike and I have that movement. Knee drive, knee drive. Okay, come here. How did that one feel?
That one felt good.
Why?
Felt like I was one with the bike and I was forward and not going too far back.
So by getting further forward, I'm assuming uncomfortably far forward.
It felt like that at first, and then when I went down, I felt quite comfortable.
That's the point. What we're trying to do is bias everybody forward. In this example, we wanted you to come further forward because if you get further forward, squat down more, you have more movement.
Yeah.
The challenging thing for you the first couple of reps was you hinged and got back. So when you set the bike down, your arms get straight and it pulls you.
Yes.
Here's what it comes down to. Fear will push you back. You go back to try to avoid something from happening. By going back, you're causing that thing to happen. Human instinct, sometimes the worst thing for you on the bike. So in a situation like this, if you're scared and you don't know what's there, slow down. If it looks big, stop and look at it, even if it's in the race. Again, none of us are getting paid to race the bike. Safety first. But if you know what's there, stay further forward. Give yourself room to put the bike where you want. Squat, squat, arms. How'd that last one feel?
That one felt really good.
Okay, the reason I think it felt better was because I got you squatted a little earlier.
Yes.
You were set over the seat. Then what you're doing is, theoretically, you're getting in the best position you can get. It's like the ABCs. If you squat in and get in that best position you can be on the bike, you're at the best starting point. Then you have all the movement in your arms. Make sense?
Yes.
Now, we're gonna make it a little more difficult, a little more realistic. I'm gonna pull that deck out.
Okay.
And so it's gonna be shallower and shorter. So this is where it's important. If you're squatted down, elbows are up, your first movement is down. In this instance, you need to get the bike down. If you come in with the elbows dropped, hips back, your first movement's out, you miss this deck, bike goes too far, hips are back, we don't want it.
Yeah, we don't, no.
Okay. Elbows up and out. Good. Good job.
Thank you.
Does it feel better?
Yeah, that was fun.
Does the theory make sense?
It does.
It's very important to understand the baseline position. And what we're trying to do is exaggerate that position. I want to come in and I want to sink into the bike so I can see where I'm going. I want to use that movement I have in my arms, and I want to keep the arms up. One of the most important things in this application, but across the board when you're riding, is elbows up and out. When you're engaged, you want to try to think about your elbows in line with the forks and becoming an extension of the forks. They're damping. This is a 300 millimeter downhill fork.
Yeah.
Same thing in your legs. If the elbows are up and out, you can do that. If the elbows are down like this and your hips are back, you don't have that damping. All right, there you go. Pretty solid breakdown, at least I hope, of skills, technique that you're gonna need come Little Sugar race day. It's hard to be concise with this sort of thing. There's a lot. We could dive really deep into this, but my hope is that everything we talked about resonated with everybody out there watching. Of everything we did, which one was the most impactful?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think for me is getting up on the obstacle. That was by far the most mentally challenging one for me.
For everybody.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
I hope the excitement genuinely came through, because that was awesome. Body position is critical. Vision is critical. But after that, you need to be able to effectively apply brakes when needed. I'd love for you to turn well, and the way you turn well is lean the bike, weight the outside foot. You know, the lifts, put your body where you want to go. And when you're dropping off something, technical descents, stair steps, things like that, don't go back if you don't need to go back. There'll be moments when you have to go back. If you're already back there, you can't go there. It's critical. And again, human nature, sometimes anxiety creeps up, and that's the instinct. So limit the anxiety. And the way you might do that is slow down a little bit. Focus on technique. Ride well. Speed will come. Now, if you want a chance to maybe work on some of this in the environment that Rachel did, book yourself a qualifying stay at a vacation rental in Bella Vista, and we will be executing breakout skills sessions in the few days prior to the Little Sugar MTB race. Details coming soon, so stay tuned. Now, our next video, we're gonna head out on the Little Sugar MTB courses. So whether it be the 50 or the 100, we're gonna get out there. We're gonna find those cruxes. We're gonna find those spots. It's gonna be hard to limit them because there's so many, and we're gonna break them down, try to give you more insight, not only to line choice, but where you will encounter them in the race. Fatigue levels will be impactful at those points, and hopefully just get you better prepared to come out here to beautiful Bella Vista and have the ride of a lifetime. So until then, stay tuned, get your mind right, get your body right, and be ready, because it's coming soon.